Po pierwsze, czym właściwie jest przyciemnianie Słońca? Oficjalnie nazywa się to zarządzaniem promieniowaniem słonecznym lub geoinżynierią słoneczną. Mówiąc prościej, rozpylamy chemikalia wysoko w atmosferę, tak aby do powierzchni Ziemi docierało od 1 do 2% mniej światła słonecznego. Co mogłoby pójść nie tak? Rozpylanie substancji w atmosferę. Wiem, o co właściwie chodzi, słyszycie. Cóż, są 3 główne sposoby, aby to zrobić. Wtrysk aerozolu stratosferycznego SAI. Latasz samolotami lub balonami do 20 km nad ziemią i pompujesz dwutlenek siarki. To najwyraźniej zamienia się w maleńkie odblaskowe cząsteczki, zasadniczo odtwarzając erupcję wulkanu na żądanie. Wulkan Pinatubo w 1991 roku zrobił to przypadkiem i ochłodził planetę o 0,5 stopnia na 18 miesięcy. Lekki kwaśny deszcz. Siarka plus woda równa się kwasowi siarkowemu. To łagodna wersja, ale nadal nie jest dobra dla jezior i lasów. Pomyśl o kwaśnym deszczu. Niebo robi się mleczne. Koniec z głębokim, błękitnym niebem. Zachody słońca przybierają dziwny, fioletowo-pomarańczowy odcień. Astronomowie tego nienawidzą. Następnie jest rozjaśnianie chmur morskich MCB. Bezzałogowe łodzie rozpylają ultradrobną mgiełkę wody morskiej w niskie chmury oceaniczne, dzięki czemu stają się bielsze i bardziej sprężyste, a także odbijają światło słoneczne. I wreszcie, przerzedzenie się chmur pierzastych, zasiewanie wysokich, strzępiastych chmur, aby znikały szybciej, pozwalając na ucieczkę większej ilości ciepła z Ziemi w nocy, trochę jak otwieranie planetarnego okna. Kto więc płaci za to szaleństwo? Cóż, więcej krajów i miliarderów niż można by przypuszczać. W USA. Projekt Escopex Uniwersytetu Harvarda, wspierany przez Billa Gatesa, dopóki nie spotkał się z publiczną krytyką i nie został wstrzymany, a także nowe zainteresowanie NOAA i CIA. W Chinach już prowadzą modelowanie. I kochają swoje modele, prawda? I małe testy z planami ewentualnego wdrożenia do 2030 roku, jeśli ocieplenie przekroczy normę. Oczywiście w Wielkiej Brytanii mamy obszar ARI, a Mad Science, agencja wydała 57 milionów funtów w maju 2025 roku na 21 eksperymentów na świeżym powietrzu, w tym test rozjaśniania chmur morskich u północno-wschodniego wybrzeża, który właśnie trwa, kiedy mówię, oraz statek, który obecnie rozpyla nad Wielką Rafą Koralową, co pozwala nam wygodnie dotrzeć do Australii, gdzie finansują największy na świecie test rozjaśniania chmur morskich o powierzchni 1000 km² nad Rafą. I to nie koniec. Są Indie, Izrael, Arabia Saudyjska, Korea Południowa, wszystkie prowadzą modelowanie lub testy w terenie. Cały świat wskoczył na ten pociąg. Uwierzcie mi. Wierzcie lub nie, ale istnieje amerykański startup o nazwie Make Sunsets, który dosłownie sprzedaje kredyty chłodzące. Wystrzelili już dziesiątki balonów meteorologicznych z siarką w Meksyku. Zostali za to zakazani, ale się nie poddają. I mają przed sobą jeszcze wiele do zrobienia. Zasiewanie chmur. Wiecie, ten podstępny trik pogodowy, w którym ludzie próbują kontrolować pogodę, żeby padał deszcz, żeby słońce świeciło słabiej, a nawet żeby padał śnieg. Szaleństwo pada, kiedy jesteśmy tak aroganccy, że myślimy, że możemy kontrolować pogodę. Chmury to nie tylko puszysta wata cukrowa na niebie. To ogromne kłębki pary wodnej, które się ochładzają, skraplają wokół drobnych cząsteczek, takich jak kurz lub sól i bum, tworzą się kropelki i pada deszcz lub śnieg, w zależności od tego, gdzie jesteśmy. Ale czasami chmury są uparte, trzymają się tej wilgoci i nie pozwalają, żeby padał deszcz lub śnieg. I tu pojawia się zasiewanie chmur. Trik z modyfikatorem pogody wymyślony w latach 40. przez amerykańskich mózgowców Vincenta Scheffera i Bernarda von Vonaguta. Zawsze się mylę, jak autor science fiction, ale brat tego gościa był prawdziwym Kurtem. Jak oni to robią? No cóż, w zasadzie leci się samolotem albo odpala generatory naziemne w te zrzędliwe chmury i wrzuca do nich środki zaszczepiające. Gwiazdą jest jodek srebra, maleńkie kryształki, które wyglądają jak lód. Działają jak sztuczne płatki śniegu, dając kropelkom wody coś, czego mogą się chwycić i zamarznąć. Te małe kawałki lodu stają się ciężkie. Zderzają się i spadają na ziemię jako deszcz lub śnieg. Suchy lód też działa na zimniejsze chmury, a sól kuchenna na cieplejsze, która przyciąga wilgoć jak gąbka. To nie jest tworzenie chmur z niczego. Ponad 50 krajów jest w grze, według Światowej Organizacji Meteorologicznej. Chiny są niekwestionowanymi mistrzami świata, wydając w tym 1,4 miliarda dolarów rocznie i dążąc do pokrycia 5,5 miliona km², czyli połowy ich masy lądowej, w celu złagodzenia suszy i zapewnienia czystszego powietrza, budując elektrownie na zimny ogień dziennie. Oto burzowa chmura. Wady to, czego nie chcą, żebyście usłyszeli, więc zapnijcie pasy. Robi się cierniowo. Więc po pierwsze, skuteczność. Chwiejna. Badania ustalają wzrosty na poziomie od 0 do 20%. Ale udowodnienie tego to koszmar. Nie możesz przywrócić burz ani powtórzyć ich w laboratorium. Musisz mieć odpowiednie chmury, aby to zadziałało, w przeciwnym razie to nie wypał. Biuro Odpowiedzialności Rządu USA twierdzi, że istnieje mnóstwo luk w badaniach. Nierzetelne dane oznaczają, że dosłownie ryzykujesz pieniędzmi podatników. A co z chemikaliami? Jodek srebra, przepraszam, to najlepszy wybór. Ale cóż, trudno to tak łatwo ująć, chłopaki. To toksyczne. Regulowane jako niebezpieczne na mocy ustawy o czystej wodzie. Gromadzi się w glebie i wodzie. Szkodzi rybom, roślinom i mikrobom. A co z długoterminowymi skutkami? Nie wiemy do końca. Życie wodne cierpi. Jedno z badań powiązało to z manipulowaniem ekosystemami. To zawsze jest niebezpieczne. Z punktu widzenia zdrowia wdychanie tych cząsteczek powoduje podrażnienie płuc, zaostrzenia astmy, problemy skórne.
Weather manipulation is on everybody's mind right now, and you make it rain. So, thought this would be a fascinating interview to be able to talk to somebody that knows actually what the hell's going on. Hopefully, so welcome.
Yes, thank you. Something or other about it, right? I think about weather mod most minutes of most hours of most days, awake or not. It rain and snow. Actually, snow we're even better at than rain right now. It's slightly easier. So talk about the differences.
How much have you looked into, the weather manipulation stuff? There's a lot of conspiracies out there on it.
Dude, I run a weather manipulation company. so yeah, I know. So on the one hand, I know a lot about the research that the United States is doing, that China's doing, that the Europeans are doing, that the Middle Easterners, Saudi and the Emirates are doing.
The Vietnam stuff, we were trying to prolong the monsoon season over there to give us some type of an advantage.
Operation Popeye. Yep.
We're going to talk about that. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, everybody starts off with an intro here. So, Augustus Dorco, founder and CEO of Rainmaker, a next-generation cloud seeding company. Rainmaker, a next-generation cloud seeding company, a USC Berkeley dropout, Thiel Fellowship, and member of El Segundo hard tech scene. Rainmaker uses weather-resistant drones to increase precipitation and novel radar hardware to measure how much man-made precipitation is created. Your first priority is reversing the desertification of America, of the American West, and ultimately to terraform deserts into abundant green, arable land. And most importantly, you're a Christian.
Yep. That I am. That's me. Really, Rainmaker Technology Corporation, us, we're trying to take the best-in-class research from American researchers and European researchers. We're trying to operationalize all the stuff that they've been studying for the last decade. Then there is the Chinese Meteorological Administration. The Chinese Meteorological Administration has a $300 million annual budget for this. They have 38,000 employees. There are 2 universities in China that offer bachelor's degrees in weather engineering, not in meteorology, not in atmospheric science, not like predicting and forecasting the weather, specifically in engineering the weather. They have a weather modification program in every province in China. They are retrofitting their highest grade military drones to conduct weather modification operations. More than double-digit percentages of the water in the Three Gorges Dam, biggest dam in China, they attribute to precipitation enhancement operations. Inner Mongolia, right, the border with Mongolia and China, they're actively turning green by making it rain more there and planting trees.
No kidding.
Yeah, and they're doing initial experiments on flood mitigation all over Canton as well. So they're the most sophisticated by far. And more still than that, they're collaborating with other governments around the world to export their technology and have control over the weather there. So like the Thai government has, this is actually a pretty cool thing. They have what's called a royal rainmaking department because they have a king, right? I don't know. It's a cool name for an organization in the government. They collaborate with the Chinese Meteorological Administration. So China does a lot of their weather modification. Then in the Middle East, they have some researchers of their own, but it's really this sort of great power politics between the United States government, which is not super involved in weather mods. So really it's just me and my pals going there advocating for us versus all of the best Chinese researchers. And the Chinese researchers, not only are they using more sophisticated drones, more sophisticated radar to measure what the results of the operations are, they've designed different kinds of nanoparticles that are way more efficient at inducing precipitation than anything that we have stateside right now. So lay of the land is there's Rainmaker, which is probably the best in class in the world, maybe only next to the Chinese Meteorological Administration. There's the CMA. There's all of the governments that basically we are bidding against the CMA for like market share in. And then there's kind of all the like snake oil salesman guys that are just flying a plane up, blasting something, and then saying, mission accomplished, we did it without any scientific backing.
Interesting. How many countries is China working with on this? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't know how many exactly. You wouldn't be surprised to find out they're pretty obtuse about it, but they have explicitly said, there's a blog post I can send you after this that they published, where by 2030 they want to export this tech, not to be explicitly part of Belt and Road, but to be a means of exerting soft influence over all these countries, right? I would prefer that we're inspired to action and get really serious about weather modification and all these other strategic technologies, because we do want to be the strongest power in the world, and we do want an American vision for the world and for space in the future, but not one that is on a collision course with China in World War III.
Well, a lot of people are really skeptical of weather modification, me being one of them. And so let's talk about the difference between geoengineering, chemtrails, and cloud seeding.
Totally. So let's open with cloud seeding, right? Cloud seeding was a technology invented in the United States by American scientists in 1946. It is super localized in its effect, both in space and time, meaning you can make it rain or snow more over an individual city, over 100 square miles at a time. Precipitation happens, 15 minutes to a couple hours after your intervention. And if you stop operating, right, if you stop cloud seeding, then you stop affecting the weather. It stops changing, right? So you can turn it off whenever you want. Also, because we were doing all of these experiments over the course of the last 80 years, we have data on its safety, right? We have data on the materials that we use. So people have typically used material called silver iodide to freeze the liquid in the cloud into these big snowflakes that eventually precipitate, melt into rain, or stay as snow. Silver iodide, its toxicity is like 10 times less than aspirin, for one. But more than that, more importantly than that, after decades of operations in Utah and Idaho and Colorado and California, because there were all these old programs, like I mentioned, there's no adverse ecological consequences, agricultural consequences to human health. Like, it's way below the threshold where you'd start to see anything like that. So cloud seeding is just a way to make more water. It's super local in its effect. It's pretty well characterized, and we know that it doesn't have any adverse ecological consequences. On the other hand, there is geoengineering, particularly solar radiation modification. That is a pretty new technology. The way that it is proposed to work is dispersing particles in the upper atmosphere to reflect sunlight and cool the planet down. Totally unlike cloud seeding. In order for cloud seeding to work, you need a big fluffy cloud that's already there. Solar radiation modification, you just put it up at like 60,000 feet. It's an interesting technology, but it's one that is like almost entirely untested, and we should be way more scrutinous of and skeptical of before we deploy it at scale. Because, like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen yet if we cool the planet down by a degree Celsius. We don't even know if we want to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the main geoengineering technology that exists. And then there's chemtrails or contrails, right? So that's the streaky things in the sky that people see behind airplanes. The first and most important thing to say is if you see those long streaks in the sky, that's not cloud seeding. Whether it's contrails or chemtrails or anything else, it is not cloud seeding. For cloud seeding to work, you have to have a big fluffy cloud with natural water. Those long streaky things, they can't make rain. They don't turn into big puffier clouds that eventually make rain. That doesn't have to do with weather modification. There are such a thing as contrails, right? So the turbulence from planes and the vapor from the jet engines will freeze behind the plane, and that'll turn into condensation. What people have suggested to be chemtrails are like the nefarious addition of either some sort of neurotoxin or goodness knows what to those contrails to poison people. I have not yet seen enough compelling evidence to believe that that's happening.
Have you seen any evidence?
Here's what is the most compelling point of information that I'm not like totally over the line on. There are different additives in jet fuel for efficiency. There's different residues or impurities in jet fuel that can end up in condensation that probably wouldn't be healthy to eat hand over fist, but is probably way too diffuse to cause any sort of serious toxicity. So like really no. And I say that as a guy that like would want to know about it and talks to people about it all the time. Solar radiation modification, yes, people are doing that. There is a ton of evidence for that. Like we know lots of people that are doing that. But chemtrails themselves, like I guess a question for you would be, if that was happening, who would be doing it and why would they be doing it?
Yeah, I think about that all the time. I have no idea, but I do look out and I see it all, and I'm like, well, that probably is not good. but that's about the extent of it. I don't know why they would be doing it, but I don't know why they do a lot of things.
Well, okay, fair enough, right? One interesting thing about condensation trails, because we do know what those are, is they actually do have an effect on the weather to some extent. In that, like, you're essentially making this blanket, right, in the atmosphere around like 30,000 feet. And so if you create a condensation trail in the morning, then you are de facto blocking some of the sunlight from getting down to the earth and warming the planet up. So you can sort of locally cool things down if you create a condensation trail at night. And on the flip side, if you create condensation trails at the end of the day, like right before sunset, the blanket sort of acts as an insulator, so it keeps more of the infrared in, so it keeps things warmer locally beneath where they are if you make a lot of them. So like maybe there's some reason to do that, but like I love the idea of getting microplastics out of the water and having about how like birth control's in all water now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
What?
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's poisoning us that we should be like really concerned about right now. So
There's birth control in the water.
yeah.
Because we're living here with devils. If you haven't figured that out yet, humans aren't the only species here, guys. I know, super crazy and hard to believe. Well, that's because you have a closed mind. But not only is this snow not gripping onto tree branches, there's a whole lot of shit getting found inside of it that I'm going to show you here in a second. And there's also many people in the comments of my previous viral video, which, by the way, they took 400,000 views off of right before it was about to reach 1 million views. Many people in my comments of that video are stating, well, we tried to burn it, it doesn't melt. A woman even left the snow in a cup in her house, which was 74 degrees in her house. It didn't melt. Why is that? Many of you are guessing. Well, I'm going to show you exactly what it is. Because, my friends, when you start to understand and learn the language of these creatures we inhabit this realm with, well, then you'll know that they use movies, media, and forms of entertainment. Enter and tain means hold. So they enter into your subconscious and get a hold of your emotions. Makes sense now why people are going crazy? And they use those things to now openly tell you exactly what they're doing to us, and most people out there don't even pick up on it. Here, let me give you an example, and then I'm going to show you exactly what's being found in this snow. You want to talk about creepy crawlers? And I know exactly what it is. I would love to tell you and go into detail on that, but you can't do that on here because this is now a app. As of the 22nd. Here you go, my friends. A lot of people saying the snow smells like burnt plastic. Well, read along. It's raining plastic, literally. Researchers found cloud water from mountaintops saturated with microplastics. Jeez, how did that happen? These particles act as seeds for ice, making storms form faster and stronger than nature intended. We have polluted the sky so bad we changed the clouds. No, we didn't. They did. Scientists found microplastics in clouds that are actively changing the weather. You see, my friends, there's something called universal law in this realm we live in, okay? And there's certain laws that these evildoers follow. And one of those is that if they tell you what they're doing to you, and we the people in turn do nothing about it, well then they avoid karmic retribution. Because the saying, what goes around comes around, exists for a reason. You guys might not believe that, but the universal consciousness of humanity is what dictates our reality, which is why they share nothing but fear in the media. Do you ever see a feel-good story anymore or acts of humanity? No, you don't. They do it because fear keeps you in the lower consciousness and lowers your vibration, keeping you stuck in a state of perpetual fight or flight. And when you are stressed out and fearful, you are easy to control. Now, this is a sample of the recent snow under a microscope. That's right. You should download this video before it's gone. Boy, isn't that lovely? Look at all that life in the snow. There it is, guys. See that? Look at it spiraling. And parents are making snow cream on social media here with this. Right here. They're giving it to their kids. Holy shit. Guys, do you have your eyes open? I mean, just take a look at this, guys. Here it comes. Ready? Watch it. Watch what comes across the screen. There it is. See that? Then, of course, you have this cluster of what the here. Well, that's not just anything, my friends. That is what is being found in the body of many people who took a certain something back in 2021, if you know what the I'm talking about. But I have to code it on here. Now that they've got control of every damn platform, we're gonna have to invent a new language.
What did I tell y'all about that snow? Listen to what this guy has to say.
Good evening, everyone. I am in Denton, Texas, and when my kids and grandkids came in from playing in the snow today, I noticed a irritation and skin rash on their hands and feet and wrists, ankles, forearms, and so I took a little deeper dive and I tested the snow. And so what I did was I took this little mason jar and I set it on top of my truck. I did this 4 times. I put it out, I let it fill up almost, and brought it in, and I let it melt, and I tested it, and just to make sure, I did it 4 times, and I found lead and mercury in all 4 samples. And so what we did was shook their clothes off outside, and we washed their clothes in baking soda, and we gave them a baking soda bath as well. Lukewarm water, distilled water, baking soda, lukewarm for 20 minutes. And I would definitely recommend not getting the snow on your skin, and make sure your kids are not eating the snow.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay, we're back, and now the phone is attached directly to the microscope. Okay, focusing up, I want to get a good look at these xenobots. Okay, they are very hard to focus on. It is said they're made out of frog skin and heart tissue. That's those bigger white things jamming around like they're on meth, okay, Adderall, whatever. And you're going to see a lot of other bugs. We're going to get even closer into those bugs. So let's do that now. I did not mean to make it less bright. Let me bring it back up. That was, there we go. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Now let's adjust the zoom. Okay, so now we were ultra microscopic. All right, now you're seeing what all comes with Morgellons. Now the Morgellon can be completely dry. Say it just blew up. There, see, there's a xenobot right there, just like it shows on the last.
What is a xenobot? That don't even sound good. I'm gonna have to look that up. Xenobot. Is that like a new type of parasite?
Post. And there goes what I think. That's an amoeba, I think. And then the squirrely one over there is a spirochete. Okay? And there are all kinds. I don't even know what to call that thing. See you guys? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Morgellons and the synthetic parasites being found in the snow, rain, hail, house dust, fans. I don't care what dust or duff that may have fallen out of the sky you grab, you're going to find this. Guaranteed. If you have a microscope, you certainly can prove it to yourself. Every time. And I recommend watching something less crowded than this when you do it. But see, there is the Morgellon and the Candida. You see how it looks like pollen popping off the sides? Those two are working together hand in hand with the bugs and the hydrogel, which I can and will show you at a higher magnification level. There you go. Boom. Perfect focus. Look at that. Good God, folks. The fact that xenobots are in it means this was lab created. They were just put in Wikipedia maybe just weeks ago. They've existed longer, but you know those people that are like check Google and tell you if you're right or wrong. Google addicts, I call them. Google lies. It's been weaponized for quite some time.
I swear, we are under attack from all the stuff they are dropping in the skies. It was like a month ago. I did a parasite cleanser and a heavy metal detox, or I think that's what it was, something like that. And for anybody that doesn't know what that stuff is, I would look into it and really consider doing it, because I know there's people out there that think that they wouldn't have parasites, but a lot of us really do. And it's good to just be safe and do it just to make sure, you know. And you can get stuff that's all natural remedies, and it really helps.
I have felt something moving in my eye for weeks, and I think it's finally coming out. I'm shaking.
This is 6 feet long. It is 7 days old. Again, from the Florida fog, we took a spore. That fog that smelled bad, we took a spore. We grew it on slides. All this happened in 4 days. They are growing like crazy. You need to see the playlist below. They're flying without wings. I don't know what's going on.
Then I received an email about something strange showing up on a woman's property. She said it felt squishy.
I found a pile of this stuff in my driveway. There's no, logical explanation as to what it could be. It's, squishy and gel-like.
What kind of snow is this? Look at this. What the fuck? Look at that. What's going on? This right here is some weird looking snow, boy.
Yeah, I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Fiber needles.
Snow that got inside the garage that's no longer snow and is literally spiderweb dust. And it stinks. It stinks super bad. But there's y'all snow. That's
Why
not really
do you
snow.
guys keep touching it?
This is the same sediment, apparently, that's showing up on the leaves of plants. It's real interesting. It'll wipe away. But it somehow came with the ice and the snow. I'm a little concerned about exactly what it is that came out of the sky. We'll talk more about it. Anybody got any ideas, let me know. Interesting, I've just noticed from the freeze that we just had and the sleet and the ice, this white residue, and it wipes off. I noticed this on my wood deck at home. This is on the Mexican white oak. I'm very curious. Anybody out there has any ideas, let me know. I will be looking into it as well. Mystery white residue on decks and trees.
Okay, ice is melting. It's like 70 degrees. It's barely, like, still hard as a rock. Well, I look over here. This is like plastic flapping in the wind, and it is the ice melting
Yeah, what
and
is
turning
this
into
stuff?
like this sheets of
Come on
plastic,
now.
very thin plastic, and it goes into the ice. See, ice, and then it turns into plastic.
I'm still waiting for the snow to melt here. It still hasn't melted like any at all. So I'm gonna wait till it melts here, and I'm gonna be on the lookout for stuff like that.
It's all down through here. The ice melting, plastic. See, more ice. This is where it has melted off.
To jest coś, co zostało w moim ogrodzie po śniegu tutaj w Memphis. Cały śnieg zniknął, z wyjątkiem kilku małych miejsc i głębokich obszarów, gdzie był zacieniony. Ale jak widzicie, wiecie, wszystko znowu robi się zielone, wiecie, bo ujemne temperatury zniknęły zaledwie kilka dni temu. A teraz na zewnątrz jest 75 stopni Fahrenheita. Ale co zostało? To nie jest pajęczyna. To nie jest śnieżna zamieć na północy. I próbujecie to jakoś wytłumaczyć. To nie jest żadna z tych rzeczy. To jest nanotechnologia. To się nazywa morglin. Byłem ofiarą morglin przez wiele lat. No cóż, ale jest też coś innego, co, wiesz, naprawdę mi pomogło, kiedy nauczyłem się to spożywać, wiesz, w małych ilościach każdego dnia. Nawet najmniejsze kawałki, pęknięcia, niszczą nanotechnologię. To jest dziwna rzecz. Wszyscy doświadczą tych okropnych ran na karku i ramionach. Będą mieli niebieskie i czerwone włókna w skórze. Będą mieli najdziwniejsze wysypki, jakich kiedykolwiek doświadczyłeś w życiu. Wszelkiego rodzaju dziwne objawy i skutki. Wszelkiego rodzaju kaszel i różne swędzenie. I będzie mnóstwo zabawy, ale, dobrze, nie chcę tego. Dobra wiadomość jest taka, że to się nazywa owady, ektoektomie i wiesz, że próbują połączyć twoje DNA z robakami i tak robi się coraz dziwniej, jeśli tak dalej gadam.